Well, thank you, Dan. Once again, getting a chance to talk to you, sir. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is because we saw each other in November about
Yep.
giant spider invasion at the anniversary showing at the Wyawega Opera House. And then just recently, I saw an announcement that you were doing involved. People are calling it a remake, but I don't know if it's a remake or if it's just an update to the giant spider invasion, Wisconsin's classic creature feature from 75. Could you tell me a little bit about this project and how it came about?
Sure, sure. Yeah, so we had the 50th anniversary showing at the Gerald Opera House in Wyawega, and we also filmed a 3 to 4 minute intro to that too for the 50th anniversary. And as we were doing it, um, we started thinking about, well, wouldn't it be cool to remake it and reboot it? And I was talking to our group of people. JB Thompson and Craig Kennett, Eric Branson, and we kind of kicked around some ideas. And then the more we kind of talked about it, we thought, well, the movie itself is really unique and it's well done. And there's lots of good campy humor to it. It has Skipper, Alan Hale in it, and Barbara Hale from Perry Mason. It has some fairly big stars of that era. And I kept thinking, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could add 25, 30 minutes of period correct film to it, shoot it on 2K or 4K to make it look like it's 1975 35 millimeter film. So it adds seamlessly to the original 80 minutes of the film, but then really add more scares and more campy humor and just kind of fill in some of the loopholes that Bill Rebane, the director, always thought the film had.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where it came to fruition. We talked about it. Now we're moving forward with it, and we're so excited about it.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it too. Not only just because it's Wisconsin made, but all of you fine folks involved with it. And it's not often an indie filmmaker, much less a filmmaker in general, but especially indie filmmaker will go back to original project and make changes outside
Yeah,
of George Lucas. Well, that's a whole
yeah,
nother conversation. But so
yeah.
how did Bill feel about this idea? So he's involved in that. Is he excited about it? Is he looking forward to it? Uh,
He is super excited about it. Bill is 88, going on 89. In the history of Hollywood, this has never happened where a director 50 years later comes back to direct a reimagined reboot of
mhm.
sorts, adding these scenes to it. It becomes its own entity. It becomes a brand new film in essence. But he is super excited to direct it. And, it's kind of funny because Mel Brooks is doing Spaceballs and Michael Douglas was talking about one flew over the cuckoo's nest. They're doing a 50th anniversary showing of that as well. And coincidentally, when Giant Spider came out in 1975, it was a top 50 box office film of that year, right up with Jaws and those types of movies, Scarface, and those classic films. And on top of that, it did 24 million in 1975, which translates to about 145 million total box office in today's money. So it was a massive success in 1975. And as we were talking, we all kind of came up with some really great ideas. And one of the biggest things is having kind of like a narrative piece throughout it. So when you look back as a filmmaker, when I look back at Eggy and the Musical, I think, oh man, I should have done this, or I should have added this, or I should have maybe cut this out and added this. And because you're never fully satisfied with the end product, even when it's picture locked, you're like, oh shoot, I could have done it differently. So this gives him an opportunity to use. I play a newscaster. I'm one of the executive producers in it, but I also play a newscaster in it from 1975 who's very serious. He's a war correspondent from Korea War and Vietnam. We're shooting it like it's 1975. He's Emmy Award winning, but he winds up at the smallest TV station in the nation in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, population 5,000. And it's a fictitious TV station because there's actually a TV station there.
Right.
This is WSOS, Save Our Ship, or SHIP. Um, and I play this kind of Ted Knight, Will Ferrell, Anchorman on steroids, who starts off very serious, but then as his world collapses around him when a 50-foot spider attacks this small town in northern Wisconsin, all hell breaks loose, and so does he. So it's really a fun character. Craig Knitt really was kind of his genesis with this character called Ted Tipman, and then everybody's really added some panache to these scenes, and with the writing crew that we have, and it's always headed by Bill Rebane. Bill Rebane is an amazing storyteller. You know, he lives by that adage that Alfred Hitchcock believed. A great movie is three things: story, story, story.
Story.
So it's all about the story. So he's the head writer, but then we have a really creative team with Craig Knitt and Kelly Peterson and Donna Frankhart and JB Thompson, and I'm throwing my 2 cents in as well. And it's really been fun to craft these scenes that are going to add so much to the film. Again, it's going to add more camp humor. It's going to add more narrative. It's going to add more scares, and it's just very, very exciting to revisit a cult classic and reimagine it.
So 75, he was on a low budget, and we covered it recently on our podcast. A lot of people find it very endearing. Even some of my co-hosts, even though if they didn't quite care for it, they still had a lot of fun with it overall, recognizing what it is. But the special effects are always the thing that come most into effect into the discussion. So are you going to go find some Volkswagen Beetles and throw legs on them? How are you going to handle trying to match up the special effects from 50 years ago to today?
Yeah, that's a great question. And those special effects back then, they were practical effects. Obviously,
Right.
in 1975, the chassis of a Volkswagen Beetle with a 50-foot spider attached to it. But we're doing a combination of practical special effects as an homage to the original film, but then also doing CGI and some computer generated. So it's going to be the best of both worlds. We're in the process of working with a company that has these amazing remote controlled tarantulas, and which is really kind of cool. And having hundreds of those, and we're just really having fun with it. And it's a
Mhm.
great homage to Bill Rebane, who put the Wisconsin on the cinematic map. And I saw Giant Spider Invasion at the Rosa Theater when I was probably 10, 11 years old. And I don't think the 10, 11-year-old kid should have been in there, but I think my
Yeah.
my Uncle Wayne came off the Menominee Reservation drunk as hell and took me to it. And I looked at him and I said, "Uncle Wayne, should we be in here?" He's like, "Hell yeah, young man. Let's go get a beer afterwards." And I'm like, "Uncle Wayne, 10. This is wrong." So so having said that, yeah, so it's been really, really interesting. It's been a really great journey so far, and the movie itself, it holds up so well,
Mhm.
50 years later. And it's been on Mystery Science Theater 3000 and all kinds of great TV shows since then, and been pirated. It was actually one of the most pirated films ever.
Sure.
And so that's no, it's all exciting. Very, very, very cool stuff.
The pirating part that you mentioned is interesting because there's some people who really hate on it, and you mentioned it like, yeah, it's a part of the filmmaking, especially when the internet took off,
Yeah.
and it still shows people are watching it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. By some estimates, they think it probably did close to 300 million worldwide, which is just mind-boggling. But yeah, that's the exciting part about when you work with filmmakers and you look up to people that, he's got that independent film spirit. Bill Rebane does. He believes in the independent, the hardworking Wisconsin attitude. We're in Wisconsin. We work hard, we drink hard, we eat hard, and that's who we are. That's our culture. But if you can bring those to play in a movie and really enjoy it and have fun with it, and that's Mystery Science Theater 3000 really kind of showcase some of those things, the drinking and the Packers and the cheese and all those great things that we take pride in. So that's kind of what we're delving into with this remake, reboot, update, whatever you want to call it. But
Mhm.
it's been fun so far, and we start in earnest really this fall, so October. So we're right around the corner.
So, besides you, are there any other additional characters being added that you can talk about? Are you having any possibly return surviving characters coming back?
Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's a great question. So, of the original cast from 1975, they pretty much all,
Yeah.
gone to heaven. So that's problematic, obviously. But Paul Benson, who is the gemologist in the original film, we're going to try to reach out to kind of not recreate his role, but be the grandfather
Oh,
in that.
sure.
So because he's about 81 now, 82. Um, but funny, there's a gentleman from my hometown in Appleton here. His name is Mark Goldie, and Mark is was in the original film in 1975. He was about 7 years old or so,
Oh,
and
wow.
so the when the giant spider goes over the huge mountain, the hill,
Mhm.
not mountain, but the hill at the Gleason days, and then all of a sudden you see hundreds of these kids running from this 50-foot spider. He's one of the kids in the front, and so he's excited, and he gives out copies of the film, and we're resurrecting him 50 years later in a really really funny scene where my character interviews him as the head and co-founder of Gleason Days. So originally they shot this in a real event called Gleason Days in 1975. They don't have it anymore, but we're
Right.
we're recreating it for 1975. And he's very excited. So he's playing the co-founder and director of Gleason Days. And I'll just give you a little. It's very very hilarious. It's a great scene. But I'll give you kind of a shortened version of it. So I'm interviewing him, and I'm here with Mark Goldie, the co-founder and co-director of Gleason Days. This is your 21st annual, and to be honest with you, Mark, every single year you've had terrible weather. You've had freak lightning strikes. You've had tornadoes. You've had storms, torrential downpours. You've had everything. You even had a snowstorm back in 1969 in the middle of July. And then he's like, you know something, we were almost ready to give up on it. Today's 75 and sunny. We've got hundreds of people here eating bratwurst and having beer. We got music and softball and rides. This is the greatest day of my life. I was this close to losing Gleason Days and losing this event and losing my home. And as he's saying this, behind them about 200 yards is a
It's just
50-foot giant
spider.
spider eating people's heads. And and we're looking at each other, and yeah, it's going to be smooth sailing from here on in. So,
the, the cursed Gleason days. I love that gimmick. That's great.
and that's a
And
really good homage to one of the original people from the film
yeah,
itself.
yeah, and the fact that you've got the original director, it's the fact that you've got a lot of the original people and people who cared about this film involved, I think means a lot because we get homages, legacy sequels of sorts of indie folks who pick up a sequel to a original cult classic, and they don't always seem to either get it or they almost make fun of the original in many ways. But you're not doing that here. You're actually just basically giving it a glow up, as the kids would say
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, and that's exactly what we're doing. And
Mhm.
um, and that's the fun part about it when you have such a legacy film, and you could add so much to it. But also in interviews, Bill Rebane, we've had a lot of great press just recently, national, regional, and statewide. USA Today, Gannett, Wisconsin, Bloody Disgusting, Joe Blow, Yard Barker, TV Insider. It's been really really kind of fun. But in past interviews, Bill Rebane has talked about the problems that he saw in the film
Mhm.
that would make him cringe, and now he's able to go back and really put salve in those wounds and
Mhm.
really make the film better overall. And the film is a fun film. It's campy, it's weird, it's different. But now if you can make it campier and scarier and funnier, everybody wins.
Oh, absolutely. The fans, and you have a fan base. So I
Yeah,
mean, this is one of those to where as far as investment wise, because when it comes to indie films, I think folks who have listened to my channel at all know biggest challenge is funding. At the end of the day, it's the funding to be able to do what you
Yeah.
want or need to do. But the
Yep.
fact you have this legacy, are you doing crowdfunding at all, or were you
So,
able to go out to get finance and investors?
so this is where we stand right now. We've got an Indiegogo campaign
Mhm,
that is going to be live. I don't know the specific date, but real soon, very very soon, within a week.
mhm.
And it's really cool Indiegogo where you're able to be in the film
Oh.
and to be extras and to do all kinds of stuff. And we're creating a comic book to be part of that. You can be in the comic book as well. So it's a really unique way to raise money. We're also doing product placement. When I talked to Bill a number of weeks ago, it was important to showcase Wisconsin product.
Mm,
He's been in Wisconsin for over almost 60 years and just absolutely loves everything about Wisconsin, our people, product, culture. But we really want to showcase some unique Wisconsin product throughout. So there's going to be a lot of product placement throughout, the official beer of the Giant Spider, the official cheese, the official bratwurst, the official, all these things, the official convenience store, all these things showcased in that period correct 1975. And there are a lot of companies that have been around since then.
mhm,
So this is really kind of a unique way of going about it. Plus, we're looking at getting a partnership with Film Green Bay Inc., which is a
mm,
501c3. So any of the monies going for product placement towards the film, they're a tax deduction.
mm.
So they're an actual tax deduction
Right.
contribution, which is really, really cool because a lot of companies are looking for that. So it's the best of both worlds. It's tax deductible and it's product placement and it's great advertising. So we're kind of using a unique approach to it. And we've got such a great, cast and crew already in place and it's just exciting.
So how many scenes do you have to where you're consuming cheese curds and having enjoying a brandy old fashioned? Sweet.
So, with my character, Ted Tipman, for obvious reasons, because he's an Emmy Award winner, war
Sure.
correspondent, should have been on national news with Walter Cronkite, and he's relegated to doing these fluff pieces about the largest muskie of the day and the Hayward muskie races and things like that instead of doing real news. He tends to drinks a little and he eats a lot and he's drowning and eating in his sorrows basically. So there's
The-
great opportunities to showcase great product, showcase great companies too, and that's the fun part about it is having this character. And like when I say like when I think of Will Ferrell and Anchorman, I really think this Ted Tipman is basically Anchorman on steroids, who has eats and drinks copious amounts. So
and,
that's
and
kind of
you're
him
no,
in a nutshell.
and you're no stranger to being a news personality. I heard your voice at least on the Last Witch of Wisconsin, the short from
Yeah,
Craig Knitt. I believe
yeah.
that's your voice on the radio, was it?
Yeah. So Daniel Wheeler had come up to me and he said, Danny, I want you in this, and your voice sounds pretty cool, and you want to be a radio personality. I said, hell's to the yeah, and so I was able to do that. But we crafted a trailer for it that is well, I think the film itself is brilliant, but the trailer is even equally, I should say, equally brilliant, and it's really really well done. So I was very happy to be a part of that. And like Mark, if there are great projects out there in Wisconsin, I'm such a homeboy, I'm such a cheerleader for the state that I'm always in our corner, and that's important to me. But I'm glad you saw that the last week in Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, and actually, I also saw another one too because being part of the Sawdust City Fright Fest, we've seen submissions, and we also I just recently saw Daniel Needs to Leave. I think it's called
Yeah,
where you were in there as well. I'm like watching the film, and I'm like, oh, there's Dan. It's always great to see
it's
you
kind of
in.
funny because I get these cameos now, which is kind of neat because of Eggy the Musical and A Trip
Sure.
to Jamaica being on Netflix and Hulu and Africa and Europe and all these great markets. So it's an honor for me to do these cameos. And what Craig Knitt did was he said, you play a character, you're Dan Davies, but you're playing Dave Daniels. I'm like, oh, okay, that's
I
interesting.
caught that. I caught
Yeah,
that. I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, that's yeah, stretch it a
yeah,
little bit. You gotta stretch it a
yeah.
little bit, right?"
And that's going to be also, I think, at the Milwaukee
Mhm.
Short Film Festival as well. But it'd be great to be at Sawdust City as
Sweet.
well.
Well, I'm not the only one that could cast a vote because if I could, it definitely would. But I don't have a huge doubt about that. But it's great that you're so involved in just Wisconsin film scene in general, because I think people don't realize the type of scene we have here in our little state. That's probably the furthest, as I always describe it, furthest from Hollywood you could probably get, uh,
Yeah,
is here.
yeah,
There's a thriving film community, which we yeah, I hope folks don't mind, but Dan, I know you're probably excited. They actually passed on the budget now the film incentives for Wisconsin.
yeah,
Uh,
and yeah, and that is really it's long overdue. They haven't had them since 2013, so it's been 12 full years of not having these film incentives, and it just passed, I think, like last week.
mhm,
I think it's capped at 5 million, and
right,
I think it's either 25% or 30%
right.
um,
But
tax
that's
or tax
but that's still
rebate.
exciting. But that's still exciting for an indie
Yeah,
filmmaker actor like yourself, because I'm going to see more. I'm looking forward to seeing more opportunities, and
yeah,
maybe you could talk to Bill Robain, and by the time those all go to effect, and there's the film commission in Wisconsin, you could make a sequel to the giant spider
yeah.
invasion.
Well, that's the thing, if it's, and I think the original, the lowest buy-in for a film is 100,000.
Right.
And it's funny, I'm talking to another filmmaker, and they want to get together to do a film and take advantage of that, because that's about their sweet spot for their budget,
Right.
about 100 grand. So, and filmed in Wisconsin, and a 25. I read originally it was a 30% tax rebate, but
Mhm.
I've seen varying articles where it says 25%. And I thought for sure it was 30%, but
Mhm.
that's going to be fun. And having that early, I think it's going to be as early as spring of 2026 is when it
Right.
becomes
Mhm.
enacted.
Yeah, and it's very exciting because in spring, a lot of filmmakers, well, I mean, as you know, but a lot of indie filmmakers are starting their shoots and production, especially in Wisconsin, because you've got the winter thaw. So you got a lot
Yeah,
of uh, great areas to shoot in that. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it is, what it's going to bring to the state too for the indie film scene, getting larger budget indie film productions, still that indie spirit and that Wisconsin spirit like you have here with the giant spider invasion, which yeah, I've got the Blu-ray on my shelf. I've watched it a couple times. Like I said, when we did the podcast on it, I was happy to see that my guests found a lot of enjoyment in it, even if it
yeah,
was low budget and campy, and it's one of those things where the impression I got from Bill is, like you said, he looks at the film and he sees that there were a lot of things he wasn't able to do, mostly because of budget. So to go back and do this, yeah, I mean, talk about revitalizing interest
yeah, yeah.
in
It's just so exciting.
mhm. And revitalizing interest in Wisconsin filmmaking in general. I have a
Yeah,
feeling with all the buzz that you mentioned with the press and that, it may even wake some people up and go, "Wait, Wisconsin makes film?"
yeah, yeah. And for those years that we didn't have a film tax rebate, the biggest thing that they always tried to say was, first of all, you have amazing locations,
Mhm.
amazing geography. You've got lakes, you've got rivers, you've got amazing people, you've got a great hard work ethic, you've got people who are smart, people that are educated, people that love the genre of film. But the biggest thing too is just like locations. I've done a number of films in Los Angeles, and we had a bar restaurant that we had for the day, and the bar owner was there. And I'm a Wisconsin guy, so and I grew up in a bar, literally in Waupaca on the chain of lakes.
Same
Uh,
here. Yeah.
yeah, and I was asking and he's like, "Oh, this is awesome, man." He said, "It's my day off, but I'm getting $5,000 for the day,
Mhm.
just for you guys to be here eight hours." And I went, "Oh shit, that's better than a swift kick to the ass." And $5,000 a day in Wisconsin, you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, can we film? And can we flip you a few $100?" Or a lot of times they'll say, "Hell, man, just give me 2 tickets to the premiere and showcase my house and put my bar in the end credits, with a special thanks." So it's amazing because it bankrupts a lot of films, because
Mhm.
if you're doing $5,000-6,000 a day just for locations, that adds up. uh, you know, um, just for one location.
Well,
So
yeah,
we
and
have a
time
lot to
as
offer.
well. Time as well as money. So,
Yep, yep. We've got a lot to offer. Any film company, we've got a lot to offer here, and it's just and the people too. It's
mhm.
you find good people, you find nice people, and that's kind of a little bit odd too. From like I've done films all over the world, literally all over the U.S., and people always ask, "Well, Dan, you're not like an a-hole," because we get a lot of actors that are just a-holes. Well, of course I'm not an a-hole. I'm from Wisconsin, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And and then when you're done with filming, someone yells, "Hey, it's the martini shot," which is the last shot of the day.
Right.
I'm excited. And then the director says, "Hey guys, we're going to this pizza joint, or we're going to this
Mhm.
restaurant. It's on the film company." And I'm like, "Hell's to the yeah, free pizza and beer, bring it on." So I'm like, and people are like, it's so funny when I'm in Los Angeles, I'll have, maybe 5 or 6 beers with my meal. People come up to me and they go, "Dan, Dan, are you okay?" I'm like, "What? Is there
Yeah.
something wrong with me?" "No, you had 5 beers. Are you going to be able to walk?" "What? I spilled 5 beers before breakfast. Come on." I'm from Wisconsin. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's right." But it's so weird to like, but anyway, no. I'm just excited for everything, Mark. I'm excited about Wisconsin's film future. I'm excited about Giant Spider Invasion. And I'm really excited about having Bill back in the director's chair,
Mhm.
and to really, that is really revitalizing him, and that's really giving him a lot of energy, and a lot of positive hope. And that's what it's all about, when you can have a legend who's done some amazing films, literally starting from the late 50s, and has really put us on the cinematic map. It's great to do him as an honor, as an homage.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, Dan. The work you've done in Wisconsin, and that I've always been an admirer of yours. It's always fun watching a short or a feature from Wisconsin. All of a sudden, I go, "There's Dan." Get to see that you're actively involved. And yeah, but is Giant Spider Invasion kind of your main focus? You do have kind of another one that's a prequel of sorts. You get to reprise a role, don't you? That you've got going
Yeah, I've
on.
got. Yeah, thank you. I've got a film coming, that we shot the proof of concept for. It's called The Deep State with Ezekiel Drews,
Mhm.
and that's the prequel to Happy Birthday, which is a really well made film where I play the president in it. I reprised that role in the prequel, so I'm super excited for that. Called The Deep State. I've got a world premiere of a film called The Lion and the Narcissist. It's looking like the world premiere is going to be September or October. I'm very excited for that. And then I'm doing a TV series out in New York, this spring, this
Mhm.
coming spring, and I'm really excited about that. That's a period piece, and kind of a mythological. I play a wizard. I'm at that age
Oh,
now
fun.
where I'm kind of Gandalf, age, and I'm super excited about that. But I'm putting a lot of my focus, right now on the Giant Spider Invasion.
Mhm.
This is an amazing film, and to co-star with people I grew up with as a kid watching Gilligan's Island. And my mom and dad love Perry Mason, and to see these stars, and now I'm a co-star with them. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool that you'll be part of a project that includes those people. And yeah, I'm very excited for you, and I'm very excited to see what you guys do with the giant spider invasion. So, as soon as you have the link for the campaign, send it to us. We'll post it on all our social medias and that. Do you have a website or whatnot where people can keep up with you?
So yeah, so we do, there's dandavies.org.
Mhm.
That's my website. If anybody knows how to do add additions to Wikipedia, because I'm not supposed to do that, if they want to go to Wikipedia, Dan Davies actor, that would be much appreciated. And then we have BillRubain.com, GiantSpiderInvasion.com. So we've got all kinds of social media out there and websites where people can be caught up. We're going to have a Facebook page as well. And yeah, it's just going to be fun. It's just going to be amazing. And that's what it's all about. If you're not having fun doing what you do for a living, then don't do it.
Words of wisdom, sir. Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Folks, check out the links. I'll put all of that in this interview, of the body of the interview. Thank you, Dan. And I'm sure we will talk again soon.
Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you for all you do for independent film, for horror film, specifically with Sawdust City's Horror Days and Film Festival. And you are a champion of independent Wisconsin film. And I thank you.
Well, thank you. That means a lot, sir. And yeah, check out Giant Spider Invasion. And you check it out now, and then look for this the updated version, because they're all kinds of fun, folks. So check it out, and yeah, go Wisconsin.